This car just revels in this sort of terrain.
You can see the absolute joy on my face, can't you?
What the M2 does best, of course, is attack corners.
The M340i drives beautifully well.
There's a great amount of connect at the steering wheel.
It's lost none of that magic BMW front end turn in.
So, as with every BMW, well, you'd expect it to be a sharp handler.
Well, that's always the narrative with every BMW, isn't it? It's always about steering feel, body control, how does it drive, how does it feel. But what about other BMWs? What about BMWs that are to be experienced from this seat and not that? What about BMWs that are big, practical for a large family? What about this, the updated X7? Now, since this is a BMW that you have to experience from this seat, let's start with that. Space for one is absolutely tremendous. Legroom, headroom, shoulder room is incredible and you never really struggle. This is a proper boss seat, this one. In terms of cushioning and support also, it is very, very comfortable. The right amount of support, the right amount of cushioning, and it is just superb. Obviously, this passenger seat has been stretched out, and that's what I assume a lot of owners would like to do, get a lot of that relaxing space. You can also adjust this seat electronically if you want a more relaxed position. Just get into a nice snooze setting and you're good to go. These headrests are really nice and soft as well. So overall, it is a really comfortable place to be. In terms of amenities, you have dual zone climate control back here. Thankfully, these get physical switches. That's just so much easier to operate. You also have electric sun blinds, which is a big boon on hot days. And you also have the option of opening the sunroof from back here. It is a massive panoramic sunroof, also gets ambient lighting. Looks really nice at night and brings in a lot of light and air during the day. Other bits are two bottle holders down below, and you have two Type-C ports with some space to keep your phone as well. The X7 is currently available only as a 6-seater, although a version with bench seat for the middle row is on its way. The other thing that you will really appreciate on this X7 is the sheer refinement. The cabin is incredibly hushed, and even though this is a diesel, you can barely hear anything. What is evident slightly is the road noise because of the big tires, but even that is only on harsh concrete surfaces. Otherwise, it is extremely well insulated. The glass has double glazing on it. You have active noise cancellation doing its trick as well. So overall, it is focused completely on offering the best sort of comfort and refinement. What's also very impressive on this X7 is the ride quality. Now this sits on 21-inch wheels. You have a good amount of tire profile as well. So ride overall is not too bad. Of course, you get air suspension that is changeable from sport to comfort to eco. And this right now is in its comfort setting, which is the most balanced of the lot. Over a poor section of road, yes, you do feel the judder slightly and there is a bit of body movement as well. But over sharp bumps and sharp potholes, it really mutes the whole experience and it really flattens them out. Now there are some things that are missing in the rear seat of this X7. First is ventilated seats. You obviously expect that in a car at this price point. That is a big miss. And then the other is an individual tablet for your controls, because when you're back here, you rely very much on your chauffeur to do all those settings. If you want to change ambient lighting, if you want to change media controls, it is a bit cumbersome. Having a tab in here like you have on the GLS would have made things a lot easier. Families that will make use of the third row won't be disappointed. The middle row opens up access to the third row by just a tug on the seat shoulder, and once inside there is a good amount of room as well. There is also an individual climate control for the third row and a small sunroof too, so you don't feel cramped. Furthermore, the flexibility of the middle row allows for a comfortable seating at the back. But what's it like from behind the wheel? It is a BMW after all. Now, even though the X7 is predominantly a chauffeur-driven car, at some point you will end up taking the wheel. It's a BMW after all. And trust me, when you do, it's not like you'll be left disappointed. Now, a big change on this updated X7 is the engine. It is now available in its iDrive 40D, guys, and that means a 3-liter twin-turbo diesel engine, 340 horsepower, and crucially 700 Nm of torque. And it is the torque that impresses you the most because there is just so much of it at all the right places. You flex your foot and this just lunges ahead. It might be 60 horsepower less than the older iDrive 50D, but at no point does it feel lacking in performance. A 0 to 100 kph time of just 5.9 seconds is proof that there is plenty of poke should you need it. Now, this obviously gets drive modes that you can customize. Right now it's in comfort mode, which is the most balanced setting, and it still has bundles of performance. What also helps the performance on the X7 is a 48-volt mild hybrid system. It gets 12 horsepower and 200 Nm, and that has helped hugely to negate that weak low-end performance. It just flies as soon as you hit the accelerator, and that is a big contributor in making this feel very non-diesel-like. Now, mated to this 3-liter twin-turbo diesel engine is an 8-speed automatic gearbox. It's a torque converter unit, and it is very impressive. Shifts are very smooth and incredibly responsive. The moment you hit the pedals, the control is completely on you. It will not upshift, and that just adds on to the driver engagement so much. And of course, we have to talk about handling. It is a BMW after all, and to be honest, the steering is nice and consistent, very fluid to use, does not feel disconnected. However, like most BMWs, the X7 doesn't really shrink around you, and that means you do feel its size, especially into corners. However, for what it is, you will appreciate the agility and how much it tries to negate that big SUV feel. And it does that with a lot of help from the suspension. Now, like I said, the suspension on this X7 is quite impressive. Hard edges are softened out very easily. But what's very impressive is the way this thing brakes. Because for a car that weighs almost 2.5 tons, you expect it to nosedive every time you hit the brakes. And even in comfort, which is the softer setting, it stays flat and composed. The air suspension ensures there is little to no shift in weight, and that is what results in stable and confident braking. The new X7 also gets ADAS with lane keep assist and automatic emergency braking, but misses out on adaptive cruise control, blind spot monitoring, and rear cross traffic braking as well. Now, apart from the engine and performance, what's also new on this X7 is the interior. I mean, the dashboard is completely redesigned and it is a lot more minimalistic. Now, minimalistic is good, very nice to look at, very modern with these nice screens. However, you don't have a single physical button, especially for the HVAC. The only buttons you have are for the volume control and track changing. That is it. Everything else is crammed into this touchscreen. The 14.9-inch screen is crisp and responsive but has a lot of functions crammed in. The iDrive is also not as easy to use as Merc's MBUX, and there are many menus and sub-menus for simple tasks. There are some interesting goodies in the iDrive system though. You can use the high-quality 360-degree camera as a dash cam for all angles of the car. The cameras will record the full video of your journey provided you have a high-capacity USB drive plugged in for storage. The cameras are crisp and high resolution with almost no latency issues. Next is the navigation with AR function that will guide you via turn-by-turn updates using arrows and pointers that are lifelike. The other change is down here where you don't have that nice big crystal gear shifter. Instead, you have a tiny piece of crystal, very effective, looks quite nice as well, but you miss that little bit of drama that big crystal shifter got. Also updated is the instrument cluster that can be customizable for dial types and crams in a lot of info as well. So overall, an interior that definitely feels 2023 with some polarizing bits. But definitely not as polarizing as the exterior. Now, since this is a facelift, let's start at the face, which will definitely split opinion. You will either like it or not like it. That's BMW's latest design language for you. I mean, we were just about getting used to the fact that these grills are getting massive and massive by the day, and then they do this. Anyway, DRLs up top, LED headlamps down below, and the thing about these LED headlamps is that they are really good. Brightness, illumination, throw, top-notch stuff. Now low down, because you have this M Sport version, there is an M Sport bumper as well, aggressive, sporty, blacked out, no chrome or silver accents here, and you have a lots of cuts and vents as well. So it definitely adds a lot of that drama. Over to the side, you have 21-inch wheels, look really sharp and add a lot of proportion as well. This car on the silhouette has not really changed a lot from the predecessor, so you have this nice big boxy look, and because this is an M Sport, you have blue brake calipers and these window surrounds have been blacked out as well. Other things remain unchanged, like the long wheelbase and the even longer length, over 5 meters long, so it definitely has that solid road presence. And finally, the rear, which is one of the most subtle angles of the X7. Simple, clean design, a no-nonsense look, straight lines. You have these interesting detailing into the tail lamps, and that's a nice touch. And of course, as before, you also have a split opening tailgate, which is always a novelty. It's always fun to hop on. So, what is the verdict on this updated X7? Well, to be honest, they have carried forward the strong points of the older car. It is a very good backseat buy if you have a use for the third row, and if you do a lot of cross-country trips, a lot of trips to the farmhouse, then you will definitely appreciate this, especially in diesel, guys. But of course, we'd love to know your thoughts. What do you think of the design, which is going to be a big topic of debate? What do you think of the interior? And if you would pick this over the X5 and even the Mercedes-Benz GLS, do let us know down in the comments below. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the Autocar India channel and hit the bell icon as well.